Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Live on Neevesknives. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Saturday to everybody. Now, I'll probably announce this a couple times in this live that what is it? The second and the third, which would be Saturday's live, and then Sunday's members live will be canceled. We'll just move them to like a couple days after or something. We'll figure it out when we get there. I have a thing I have to do on that day, so between those 2 days, so nothing I can do, but we'll make up for it, no problem. Stones, drops, knives, cooking, and fishing. What a damn name! What's up, brother? How you doing? I might be rather inebriated tonight, gentlemen. That's all right. It's all right as long as you're here. Hit the damn like button. It's okay. So where is it? So you guys probably seen the video of the new Rook, which is, oh my goodness, I'm so happy he wound up doing this again. If you guys don't remember, I did do a video. It was I think it was the Trisect, the Serge Panchico Trisect. Now I know this is crazy expensive. A lot of people are not going to get it. It is entirely way too expensive. I get it. It's $1,000 and like $1,200 for like the other versions or something like that. $1,000 for this exact version. I forget what the other ones are. But yeah, that's crazy money for a knife. It absolutely is. This is somewhat of a collector's piece. So let me just give you guys. Let me just put it into perspective, right? The Orbit came out when I started the channel. It was discontinued. Like they weren't even making it no more. I forget exactly what year it came out, but say if I started the channel 4 years ago or 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. It was popular at that moment. And they were $500 brand new, $500. Well, after they were gone, right? They're not making them no more. They were impossible to find. And if you did see them, they were like $1,000. So in order to get one, it was very expensive. So you could see the markup right there. Well, I don't know how many of these they're going to make. I don't know for how long. I imagine it's not going to be, maybe it's just this run. I don't know. Maybe he'll do a couple runs. I'm not positive. But either way, once they're done, they're going to be done too. And then I imagine they're going to be a hell of a collector's piece / investment, if you wanted to look at it like that. So I figure, if the other ones were going for $800 to $1,000, you can imagine what these will be going for, at that point. I'm saying if you wanted to do something like that. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying what happened before. But I've been waiting for it since the original one. Because when there was the original one, I wanted that one. I had it in on loan, and it was impossible to get. I was actually lucky that the guy even sent it for me to check out on the channel. And what's crazy is the locking mechanism. We all know Hawk's locks are just incredible, right? Same thing with this thing, man. This thing is a damn vault, man. And then they have the, what is it? The toggle detent. Yeah, the Hawk lock and toggle detent. So there's the toggle detent, which I'm curious about this toggle detent on other knives because it's so crisp. It's so good. I'm wondering, like I bet that, man, I don't know if like that's just like exclusively for Serge Panchico or if that's something that G&G Hawk patents out. I have no idea. But man, listen to that thing. That lock looks like a crossbar shark lock. It's nothing like that though. So I actually in the Orbit video, I do show, I think, one taken down a little bit, or maybe I just show videos of it. I don't remember. In this video, I showed it too, at least a see-through one. But there's like a pin that goes down right here. It's not double-sided. You see, it's not a crossbar. It's not a crossbar at all. It's completely different. So there's like this pin down here that drops down into a groove. So this pin shoots up, and that's what locks it in place into the blade. When you pull it down, it pulls it down, obviously, and it has like a little space right there. Now the detent is right there. That's what's holding it in right now. That's the toggle detent. That's on the other side. So the lock's on this side, the toggle detent's on this side, and it's a rocker. So it's a rocker that goes back and forth. There's like a rocker and a bearing thing that, or not bearing, but like a sleeve and a rocker, and it rocks and snaps into place. And then you just gotta go look at it. Just go look at it. We can check it out right here if you guys want to, really quick. Fuck it, while we're here. Give me 1 second. Pull it up. All right, here we go. Might as well just look at it really quick. So this is how it works, or at least between the lock. So this is the lock side. You'll see it right here. See how that wedges up into locking position, and there's the toggle detent. I can't play the audio because there's music, but you see how that's like a rocker, and then you see how that thing drops down into that groove right there. I'll say this, it feels incredibly solid. Like, I mean, incredibly solid. Hey man, I just got my Flytanium arcade. Yeah, I ordered one. I ordered one too. I seen it. So how do you like it? How do you like it, Aiden? Because please tell me you like it. Because I just ordered one too. Hopefully it's really cool. A rocker, is it a rocker? Is it Shawn Michaels or got jokes? Sorry, Chris Jones. Ever since Marty went through the barbershop window, he basically died. All right. Let's see here. Well, heyo, Jared. I got the Kaiser Cormorant and Frag Titanium. Awesome knife. My only problem is that the detent seems so weak. What can I do to improve the detent and closed position on a button lock? Take it apart and stretch the spring. So you have the spring, and do I have a button lock sitting here? I should. Yeah. So you have a spring inside of here. It's actually going to be on this side. So it'll be like right here. So you take it apart, and then that spring will pop out. It'll be a really tiny spring. Take it and just give it a little stretch. Not a lot, just a little bit. A little goes a long way. But just stretch it a little bit, put it back in there. Your detent will be stronger. That is how you do that. I had a couple, because I've got like 4 of them, maybe even more. And I've got a couple, or I had one with a light detent. But it's very easy to fix. Do the Hawk locks actually make Do the Hawks actually make the knife? No, Serge Panchico makes the knife. The locking mechanism was designed by, or designed and probably made by G&G Hawk. So they make the detent and the lock, and then Serge Panchico makes the knife. That's how it works. At least that's the way I understand it. Now, I'm not sure if it was just something that they had already designed from the Orbit, and now Serge Panchico made it, but off of their patent. I don't know. I'm sure they probably made it in their shop, but I'm not positive. Let me scroll down. Okay, for 200 is a bit steep. It's a bit stiff, but I've never had a shark lock before. It is a bit smaller than I thought. I hope it breaks in nicely. Stiff, huh? That's interesting to me, because I don't know. Do you mean the spring is stiff, or the knife is stiff? Knife should be free flowing, but maybe you mean the spring. All the ones that I've tried shark locks wise, none of them were stiff. So maybe this is just somewhat of a new version. I wouldn't mind a stiff one, because that would just mean a stronger lockup, I guess, even though theoretically that's not really possible, as long as it's pushed up, it's as strong as it can get. But it at least would feel stronger. White Mountain Knives has the Max Ace Meerkat in stock. You can get it for $142. Aaron's always in here fucking shouting out White Mountain Knives. Hey, Jared, what are your thoughts on the James brand Klein was considering on purchasing one? Which one's the Klein? Let me just look it up. Okay, yeah, I know which one this one is. Um, I like it, man. This is a USA made one, right? Yeah. I really like it. I want to try one. I don't know how it is. I haven't tried it. It looks like it's dope. I like the hollow grind. I love, let me just show you guys. I guess I should stop being a dick and hogging the screen up. Um, so I love the grind. I was checking it out. I actually tried to kind of get one a while back, or like when they first dropped. They haven't been out that long, but it looks like it has a beautiful plunge grind, nice grind. I'd like a lower tip to drop point. You can see the tip is not center line with the pivot. You can see how much higher it is than the center line with the pivot. So it's not going to be the best utility cutter, but it should be a great user though. It looks like a solid knife, and being USA made. Does anybody know who the OEM is? Is it Hogue? Who is the OEM? Does anybody know who the OEM is? Have you ever had a Homer Zoo? I don't even know what that is. How do you know which pivot oil you what? How do you know which pivot oil you should use? Heavy. So heavy goes on the detent ball. You don't use heavy on your bearings. So heavy goes on the detent ball. So if you open up the knife, you'll have the detent ball right there. So you just flip it this way, put a little tiny drop right there, then close it and take the regular, not the light, the regular, and put that a drop on each side on the bearings. That's how you do it. As far as washers go, that you're going to want slick them all, or some sort of grease is usually what you want with those. You can use oil, but grease works better. I actually live in the same town as Marty Janetti. Also, I was freaked out that you got a Herman knife just days after we talked about. I know. I actually said that. I think I said that in the video. What a coincidence. Amazing choice, brother. An amazing knife. Mind flicking it a bit. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I was very, very excited about it too. I honestly, when the company contacted me, and I didn't think it was bullshit. I just want to be clear. I didn't think it was bullshit. But when a company tells you to pick something out from their site, it seems a little unreal when it's a site like this. I understand why it would be good for them. So I understand why they would, and I'm happy they did, right? I'm very happy they did. But it seems a little like surreal, so and then you try because you're like, everything on there is expensive. Like nothing's cheap. So it's like, what price range do I go to? Right. I don't want to be greedy. Right. Because I also want them to remember that I wasn't greedy. Right. But picking a Herman out, and saying, yeah, send me a Herman is just like, it's absolutely amazing. Because these are just incredible pieces, incredible works of art. He does such a damn good job. And this is the beautiful thing about a knife, and this goes for any titanium knife. I don't care what type of titanium knife it is. You shouldn't work like, I know, like you're a little bit more easygoing with it. Like you're not going to want to beat it up, right? But let's say you do. Let's say you use it like any other knife. Just use it. Use it however. Doesn't matter. You're not putting it across concrete, but you're using it how you would any one of your other nice folders. If you put scratches in this, it's titanium. It can be worked out, right? You can get it re-anoded. You can get the clip repolished. You can get a new satin finish put on the blade, or a new grind, or whatever. Like you have and if the detent winds up getting light, or the lock bar winds up not being as strong, you can tune that, right? You can always work on these and make them back to brand new, basically. And that's why a lot of people love knife modders, because they can send some of their knives that they've beat the shit out of and get them back, and they're like works of art. I like my arcade. It's got the typical downfall of a shark lock. The non-existent detent, similar to the 80/20, figured that. My biggest complaint is the edges of the scales are fairly sharp. Well, I might be regretting my purchase now. No, I'm just joking. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'll probably feel the same way when I get mine. Uh, but you know, I also already know the detent on a shark lock, and you know what? It's kind of weird. Like, if I was gonna do it, right? If I, me was gonna do it, I would make sure I had a D10. But no, seriously though, I would try to figure out some way to actually kind of like how Kaiser did with the crossbar lock, right? Granted, there was a couple companies before that. Ganzo kind of figured it out. A couple other companies kind of figured out the crossbar lock, Sativian. But Kaiser really put a cherry on it. And I feel like a shark lock could be done the same way. I just don't think that it's impossible for a shark lock to have a detent. It's kind of like even like the MSI in the RAM lock from Microtech, that could 100% have a detent. How do you know which pivot? Oh, you already read that one. Let me scroll down. Hey, we got a member of 8 months. Thank you, John, for all the support, man. Hey, Jared, enjoying my Spyderco Shaman. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, the Shaman's an awesome one, man. The Shaman's definitely a good one. That's one that will probably be around for a very long time. I don't see a Shaman going out of style. Not only out of style, but I there's always potential that Spyderco could discontinue a model, right? There's always that potential, but I just don't see it happening with the Shaman. The Shaman's just so popular. It's such a tough knife while still holding on to a lot of slicing performance. Hey, Jared, have you been enjoying your Warntech? Yes, I have. I absolutely love the Warntech. I was actually going to put together a video. I didn't wind up doing it. I might still do it, of my favorite pre-order knives, or like my favorite knives that were pre-order. Now, granted, the Warntech I did not pre-order, but it was a pre-order knife. So you guys get what I'm saying. Most of the other ones that I would put in the video would have been pre-order ones or whatever. And it would have been on the list for sure. Glenn, thank you for all the support. He's been a member for 3 months. He says, should you put heavy or any lubrication at all on a detent nub, like on a Sharp Designs Evo Typhoon? Yeah, put the heavy on there. Absolutely. So the reason why you're doing it is so the nub acts just like a detent. What it does is it actually rubs against the blade. Let me see if I can find something. Let's say this is the blade, right? The blade's closed, the blade's open, right? That detent nub sits in a place and rotates like that on the blade. So that path that it takes to open and close, you want to make sure there's lubrication there, just like it's just like a bearing. And even though it's a detent nub, it still will cause friction. Now, let's say you let it go dry, right? If you let it go dry, what'll actually happen is it will feel gritty. It'll literally feel gritty. There's been times where I felt like sandpaper was in my knife, and all it was a dry detent. So you always want to keep those oiled. I think Polish Custom Knives is a little cheaper on Herman Knives, even though shipping costs are high. I'll tell you what, man, they're fast shippers. Fast. When I picked it out, I could not believe, like, I seriously, I felt like I had just told him what I wanted, and then it was here. I don't know if he shipped it over and like just rapidly shipped it. I have no idea, but I got it fast, like really fast. So, um, I don't, and that's probably why, to be honest, that might be why the shipping is a little bit higher, because he probably ships them fast because of the cost of the knife and everything. And you don't want that getting fecked out. Should you oil OTFs? No. Won't it just gunk up with dust and stuff? Yes. Yeah. You don't want to oil those. You want to use I think a dry lube for those. I don't Mike Emler is really good with those. I'm not the best with them, but I believe it's dry oil is what you want to use on those. on the OTFs. The reason why you don't want is, like you said, it gunks up. So what happens is if you put oil on there, it'll actually slow it down. You want the blade to be more free flowing. Unlike, like, say with anything oiled, it's lubricating the surface for the friction. Well, with an OTF, it's an open space, so you don't want anything causing any friction or even lubricating any friction. You want it to be an open shot. So that's kind of the thought process behind that. So but yeah, you can look it up online and it'll tell you like good ones to use. I had a question about number of stones and grit. I saw a guy start on a 120 grit, then jump to 1,000 to finish. Ooh, that's not good. How many stones is ideal for sharpening? What's a good progression in grit? So when it's low grit, you never want to jump too far. Okay. So when you get really high, then you can jump. But you really only need 3 stones. That's really, you can do it with 2 stones if you only have 2 stones, but I would never go from 120 to 1,000 ever. Never, ever would I do that. I would go 120 to maybe 400, 120, maybe 600, but I would go 120, maybe 400 or like 300. Then I would go 600 and then 1,000. Now, if you're going for a polish, you want to keep them as tight together as possible, like 3, 6,000. 2,000, then you can start jumping. The reason why is because you need the aggressive stone to get out the previous scratches. Otherwise, what will happen is your first stone scratches. Like say if you went from 120 to 1,000, that 1,000 grit will never get out a 120 scratch. Never. Like it'll take you fucking forever. So what will happen is you'll get to a polish, but you'll still have very deep scratches. You'll have places in the edge there just gouged. So I say if you only want 2 stones, get a 300 and a 600. If you're okay with 3, if you only want 2 stones, get a 3 and a 6. If you want 3 stones, then get like a 140 or between a 140 and 300. That's what you should have for a course. Your course you always want between 140 and 300. You could say 100 to 300, but 100 grit stone is fucking aggressive, like really, really, really aggressive. But 140 is super aggressive. So anywhere between that, 300 and under, basically. So 300 and under is your course. Then you want a medium grit. Medium grit's going to be 4 to 600, right? Something like that. 600 is probably the best. And then you want a fine. A fine is going to be 1,000 to 1,200. So anything between 1,000 and 1,200. And then after you have those 3 stones, now you're pretty much ready to get a polishing stone or start with polishing stone. So between 1,200 and 2,000 is a cloudy finish. So also though, let me be clear, depending on the stones will depend on the finish. So there's some Japanese water stones or some water stones that are 6,000 grit that are not polished. They're like a cloudy finish, but usually over 2,000 grit is going to polish. So after 2,000 is when you get to polish. Once you're to 3,500, it's a mirror polish and up. So but between 1,200 and 2,000 is a cloudy finish. 2,000 is when it begins the polish, and then as you move up, it just gets more and more refined, more and more mirror like. When it's open and I pull the lock all the way back, it doesn't fall shut. The blade just sits there. Try oiling it. It shouldn't do that. It should free fall. So 2 things. 1, check for oil. Number 2, check the pivot. Every once in a while, and this happens to me all the time. So, and every once in a while, you'll get a knife that the pivot is just cranked a little bit too tight. And when I don't mean loosen the pivot. I mean just like literally like an eighth of a turn. Like if I was going to do it on like this, like it would be such a small amount, like it'd just be like, that's it, bam, and then see if that works. It's just going to take that initial pressure off. That might be the case. But check for oil though. How long does Kunwu usually take to fulfill an order? I ordered a Padre 6 days ago and it still hasn't been filled. So I don't know if you mean like, is it like a pre-order thing, or you're just talking about you ordered one? If you ordered one, it should have been filled pretty quickly within like a day or two, and then should have been shipped out within like a day or two. But there are times where some companies take like 4 or 5 days because they're just backed up with orders. So that it, I would say that you should be getting it any day now, but maybe it's something, because this does happen. Sometimes they don't have them. So what they're doing is they're letting you order it. So as soon as it gets there, they'll ship it to you. And it might take, and what'll happen is it'll take 2 weeks for them to get. So, and that's for them, that's shipping. So it could take 2.5 weeks for them to put the order in, and then 2 weeks for them to receive it, and then another 3 or 4 days for them to ship it to you. But I'm not sure what the stipulations are right now with them and why it's taking them so long. But that's in many cases the case. They have to order it from, because they're, they might have a headquarters here. They have to order it from their OEM where they're getting them made. Do you have any recommendations for a fixed blade outdoors knife? My current go-to is the K-Bar Becker BK2. So when you ask me that, I always think of like, for what? I like the LT Wright knives for like camping and things like that. But SE knives are great, and I love SE knives because SE has like a no bullshit, no questions asked warranty. You can take an SE knife and snap it on camera on purpose and literally tell them you did it on purpose, and they will still replace it. So now, if you can't beat that type of warranty, right? That's a fucking good warranty. So I always like to stand by them. It's USA made. They do a good job. Some people say their steels are ran a little bit on the softer side, but it's a fixed blade. So, what's your take on the CMB Dharma? I love it. I love the Dharma. Looking to make that my first premium purchase. The Dharma is great. No, I have one. I actually have it loaned out right now to Mike Emler, and I love it. The only problem with it, watch my video on it. Watch my video on it, and then you'll really understand. The top flipper is not great. The top flipper does not work good, but the other two deployments are amazing, so they make up for it. But you're not gonna like the top flipper or the front flipper. You'll like the back flipper and the reverse flick, though. Man, I just got the Applied Weapons Tech scales for the Manix 2. Then I saw your video on the original Goat clamshell scales. Did you say it makes it sound better? Have you tried Aught scales? I haven't tried the Aught scales, but I will say, yes, it did make it sound better. It made everything better. Like, before I had titanium scales on mine. I had flytanium titanium scales. So they were, for that knife, heavier, right? So the original ones were G10. I replaced it with the titanium. It made it a little bit heavier. So now mine's super lightweight because it's got the aluminum scales. But the aluminum scales with the clamshell, it kind of, because it's a clamshell, it kind of like echoes inside there a little bit more, and it leaves a different feeling, especially because it's lighter and everything. So it's still just as smooth, still solid as all can be, but it has a different type of sound and feeling to it that I appreciate. And I like doing that sometimes to my knives because it just, it kind of changes it up and kind of makes an old knife new again. I haven't wanted a Kaiser in months, and now that coming soon Frag Titanium Clutch Lock Mini Towser K has my attention. I need to check that one out. I don't know if let me see. I'm not finding it. I don't know. I'm not finding what you nope. I have no idea. So maybe it's just me, but I can't find it. I don't know what that one. If where'd you see that one, on Instagram or something? Is it on their Instagram page? James Brand designed in Oregon, made in. James brands mostly are made overseas. They have a couple. They have a Riet made knife, which is their integral, and then they have 1 or 2 USA made knives. But most of the knives are made in China. Okay. Philosophical question: which knife company do you love the most, but have comparatively few knives of? Why is that? Okay, I'll give you some. So one is I love Microtech, but I don't have very many of them. One, I love their manual knives, but most of their knives are automatics or OTFs, and that's why I don't have a lot of them. I like their manuals though. Another company I don't have a ton of. I don't have a ton of Hogues. I would like to have more Hogues. I think I only have 3. I think I only have 3 Hogues. I would like to have more. I've had more in the past, but I'd like to have more now. Benchmade. I'd love to have more Benchmades. Benchmade fucking prices are so crazy right now that it just disgusts me to even spend the money, but I do want to get a bailout. What's another company? I got tons of spider codes, so I can't use them. Yeah, I think that's basically. I mean, there's a lot of companies that I love that I don't really have that many of. But MKM, I don't have a ton of MKMs. I'd love to get more of those. Um, yeah, there's I can even say like other USA companies like I have a bunch of Hinders and stuff, but I'm trying to think. Oh, I would love to get more Medfords. I really want the M48. I like that thing so much. I almost bought it at Blade Show. I was like that close, and I wound up giving it back, regrettably. Opinions on the Elite Tactical USMC. Elite Tactical USMC. It already sounds not legit. I have no idea. I'm getting a bunch of bullshit. So I'm not sure who that is or what they do or what it is, but I have no idea. What would you recommend for a premium titanium knife? Well, it depends on what type of locking system you want, but and like what type of bang for your buck do you want? Like, are you willing to just shell the money out? Because if that's the case, then I'll tell you to get a Reat. If not, if you're trying to spend less money but get similar quality, I'd tell you to go for a Wii. There's a lot of great Wii's, and there's a new Wii coming that I have sitting right over there. That's going to be fucking amazing that maybe you should hold off for. But if you're trying to spend the littlest amount and get the best bang for your buck, I will tell you that new Migaron knife is really, really nice. For like $160, you get S90V and a titanium frame lock. Then you also have the Max Ace Black Mirror, which is a Spidey flicking knife for like $142 for a titanium frame lock and M390. So it just depends on your price and then what type of lock do you want. If you're willing to if you want a frame lock, then there's a lot of options, tons of options. James K has been a member for 12 months, man. Thank you for the damn support. Cashing in 1 year chat just to send the love. Thank you, James. I appreciate it, brother. He shows a lot of love to the channel, and we do appreciate it, man. Thank you. You know what sucks is I just got all those new members, and now I'm not going to be able to do that membership coming up. That live. I might have to do an early one. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow or something. Maybe I'll do like a surprise one tomorrow. Cue ball with the 5 bones says, haven't been active in a bit, finally turning a corner. Just know I appreciate everyone who's reaching out to me or messaged me in the live chats. Chris, I know you're going through a bunch of shit right now, man. Handle your stuff, man. We're here when you're ready to come back. We know you're in the background. I just hope you're happy and healthy, brother. What's the finest edge angle per side that you think D2 can maintain decent edge stability? So it depends on the blade geometry. 15 is the lowest I would go with D2 on a thick edge. So meaning like if it's 20 degrees, sorry, 20 thousandths behind the edge, you could go 15 degrees if the geometry of the blade supports it. However, if it's not if it's under 20 thousandths behind the edge, then I would go 17. I wouldn't even go down to 15, because the thinner you get, the lower the angle you put on, the more fragile it's going to be, right? When you put a low edge angle, you need stability behind that apex. You need stability because it'll make it to where it doesn't matter what steel it is. It's going to microchip. So D2s are good steel. It can hold a low angle edge relatively well, as long as it's not too low and as long as it's not too thin. And as long as you're not stupid with it too. So that's a huge thing. Like, depending on what you're doing, if you're only cutting cardboard, tape, plastic, ropes, things like that, and the plastic isn't like hard plastic, it's just regular, soft plastic, it should be fine. But when you start hitting staples, hitting dirt or anything like that, it's gonna fuck it up no matter what. Hey, I used fluid film on my flipper. Does it not dry so smooth? I don't even know what that is. Fluid film? I don't know what that is. Fluid film. Oh, Gunny's got some OTF lube. Very cool. Okay. I didn't know that. There's probably some down in my link somewhere. If Flytanium might have some, and they usually carry the Gunny Juice stuff. And by the way, I do have I forgot, I should have said this. I have an affiliate link now for what's it called? Stroppy stuff. I think that's what it's called. That I will be showing when I do that fixed angled system video. So I'm very happy to have that because I've been wanting to get an affiliate link because I do love that stropping compound. And now I have an affiliate link. I don't have it down in the description yet, but I will put it down there soon. Do you have any recommendations for a fixed blade? My current favorite is a cable. I think I already answered that. I would say the Essies. Knife Nuts, been a member for 16 months. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate it, man. Rule of thumb for lubrication: anywhere metal rubs against the metal, use lube. If they are dissimilar metals, heavy/thicker lube is better. Well put. Where do you measure behind the edge thickness, on the bevel or behind the bevel? So I'll just do it right now for you. So let me grab a knife that you can really see can you see the edge on that? Okay, so zero out your calipers. You're going to go directly behind the apex, right behind the edge bevel. So the back of the bevel right there. That's where you're doing it. The shiny part of the edge, basically. Do that entire thing right. Don't go way back here. Right? You want directly behind the edge. That's the thickness of the edge. Now, that will change depending on the angle. So, like, say if I measure that angle, right? Let's say it's a factory edge. And I say, well, it's 15 thousandths behind the edge. But at what edge angle, right? So it's 15 thousandths behind the edge at 22 degrees per side. So that means if I put a 17 degrees per side edge on this, it's going to be about 20 thousandths behind the edge. So know that your edge angle has a lot to do with your behind the edge thickness, but you can measure it and get a good idea of where you're at. And then also just feeling it. So like, after you've handled enough knives, you kind of know like what's thin geometry and what's not. So you'll get some that, it's like 15 thousandths behind the edge, but it slowly gets thicker. It doesn't just dramatically get thicker. Then you'll have some that'll be 17 thousandths behind the edge, and it will rapidly get thick. So it's 20, 30, 40 thousandths very quickly. Good example of that's like a Benchmade 940. Where do you, I read that. Let me scroll down. Zeroaster, been a member for 11 months. Hit the damn like button. Thank you for the support, Zeroaster. And then, Arugula with the 2 bones. Give a Homer Zoo hero a search. Custom sub 500. All right, let me see if I can find it. What is it? Homer ZHU hero. Right. So here they are. Oh, well, this is the parrot. I don't see the hero yet. I typed in hero though, so they look pretty cool. I'll give you that. Here's the hero. Yeah, it looks pretty dope. 480 for this one. Is it a backlock? Oh, it's a backlock. Oh, I'm not a big backlock fan. Oh, it's the only thing that sucks. What else does he have? Does he have other ones? Other locks? Let's check what this one is. What kind of lock is this? A button lock? Yeah, it's a button lock. Maybe it's an auto. Oops, sorry. Got to go back. My bad. Oh, here we go. Let's check out what this one is. This one, different. Frame lock. Okay, cool. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like that. That looks wicked. Look at that backspacer. You know what it kind of looks like? It looks like a crazy Olamic. It looks like kind of like an Olamic that had a bad life. They grew up rough. That's pretty dope. This one's cool too. Oh, I like that micro milling too. It's got the zigzag pattern micro milling. That is dope. Yeah, this is pretty cool. 385 for this too. That's not too bad. What's the size of this one? 6 inches. These are dope. Wait, what was that? 6061. Good HRC for let's see if there's other steels. What do we have here? S35 6061, 150,000 blade stock thickness. That's some thick geometry or thick blade. Maybe not necessarily thick geometry, but this one's 154 cm 6061 again. 415 out of stock though. But no, these are very cool. They're awesome. Oh yeah. Let me scroll down. I know I'm very backed up, so I'm just going to catch up to the chat. Broncos with the 5 bones, CJRB Pyrite or Kaiser Mini Roach. Ooh. Or something else you recommend under $100, something under 3.5-inch blade. So here we go. I would go Echo before the Pyrite. So Echo before Pyrite. You want the Echo. Trust me on this. Go for the Echo. Now, if it's between the Echo and the Mini Roach, the Roach is so good. It's such a good knife. That's a tough one, man. I'll say this. The Roach is going to be a lot slicey. It's going to have thinner geometry. It's going to cut better. It's going to be better at everything but utility cuts. And even then, it's still going to be just as good with utility cuts. It's a spear point blade or like a leaf-shaped blade. The ergonomics are definitely going to the Echo, though. Fidgetiness, probably the Echo. It's a button lock, even though the Mini Roach has a phenomenal reverse flick. I'm going to say go with the Echo. Go with the Echo. Use my link down in the description. The Artisan link, I think it's down there. Yeah, go to Artisan Knives, look up the CJRB Echo. Get that. That's what I would get. I need to put my new Kaiser link down there. I do have a Kaiser link if you did want to get the Mini Roach, but that's a tough one, man. Knife Standards RR Station was pre-order knife that has been all that and a bag of chips. Lots of pocket time. All right, I got to catch up. Oh, damn. I am so backed up, guys. I am sorry. I'm just going to catch all the way up. Okay, so if there's anything I missed, just retype it. Aldi clips are, I know that sucks sometimes because you're like, man, I already typed it. I don't want to type it again. Please just type it again so that I'm not 6 months backed up in comments. Alti clips are kind of a pain for fixed blades for me. Recommend any for inside the waist carry. So there is if you go to TCal Knives, I think I might have them linked down in the description too. Maybe not. Okay, I need to put them down there. Okay, I need to get my. I know I got to work on my links, guys. So TCal Knives. Watch my most recent TCal knife video, or one of them. Actually, I think the last one was a self-defense knife video. I think it'd be the most deadliest knives or something like that. Watch that video, or just watch some of my TCal knives. That he has 3 different ways to carry inside the waistband, and one of them tucks inside the waist, and then it comes around and it curls around your belt, so it hooks your belt. That one's really comfortable, and then he has a couple other ways too. So check out what he's got. He's even got another way where you just tuck it, and it's on a rope, or it's on a basically a rope to your belt loop. So when you pull it out, the sheath is going to come with it until you get to right here. But then as soon as you get to here, it's going to yank it out, and then the sheath is just going to dangle down by your leg. And you get to decide how far you want the string to go. Just check out TCal Knives. He's got tons of videos on them and stuff, and he does a really good job. It's all USA made stuff. Seth Fletcher with the 5 bones at a buddies with some buddies hitting some whiskey. Hope everyone's doing all right this evening. Have a good time, Seth. Have a good time. Salute to you. Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't. What the fuck are you talking about, Chandler? Jared, where in the actual fuck is Kara? You're great, but together you are greater. You can't hear her? Listen, I'll turn the. Just listen. Just so you know, she's not dead. So, yeah. She's over there playing her damn games. Playing her damn games. Who makes the echo? CJRB. So just go to my Artisan link. So the Artisan link is, or somebody can put it in the chat. Go to my Artisan link. Artisan and CJRB are the same company. See, I should put CJRB next to it. Let me just write that. Artisan. There we go. I just put Artisan / CJRB. So yeah, go to the Artisan link. You'll find it. Wait, did you see Transparent Knives do those spine wax on the Holt to fail? Yes, I did. So I heard that they did eventually make a response saying that that is not normal, after supposedly they had said that it was normal. I don't know if that actually happened, but I believe Brian, and I believe, that they probably did say that. If he said they said that, they supposedly walked it back and said, no, that's not normal. Maybe, and to give them credit, they might not have known how easily it was happening. I don't know. Right? Maybe they were thinking spine whacking, right? When he was just barely tapping it. So they'll fix it. I have zero doubt that a company like Holt isn't going to take care of their customers and make sure they're happy, or just refund their money, which I think is what happened with him, is what they were going to do. Dino, hey man, how else am I supposed to get you to comment though? Right? You got to tell me that. When you can tell me how else I can get you to comment, unless if I do all caps lock, then I'll stop. But first, I got to know how else I can get you to comment, man. Thank you, Todd. I do appreciate it. Kaiser, how do you honestly beat that product? Well, I understand what you're saying, but I will say, yes, they do an amazing job. They have a lot of amazing knives. They also have a lot of designs that constantly come out. So give them a lot of credit. I will say though that Civivi is a hell of a company to compete with. So I will say that Kaiser, while I love them, and while I think they have some designs that beat some that beat some Civivis, Civivi also has some models that beat some Kaisers. So, and Civivi tends to do, in not all cases, but in a lot of cases, really good geometry. Kaiser does too. Kaiser's the land, the mini roach, you know, and so on. There's a bunch of knives that they have, but Civivi's just like kind of been known for their nice deep hollow grinds. It seems like lately they've been going back to the flat grinds, but I'm sure we'll see them go back to the hollows again. Should I spine whack my Holt? I've never believed in that. To me, that's misusing a tool. So when you think spine whack, you're thinking of really hitting it hard. I'm thinking just tap it, you know, just give it a little tap, tap, taparoo, you know, like if I had something here, but I don't. I was looking for something wooden, but you know, it's not like you're hitting that hard. I'm just, you know, I'm hitting it like this hard, but on something hard. So, and seeing if it'll fail. And also get your fingers out of the way when you do this, because I promise you, eventually one will fail and you will cut the living shit out of yourself. Don't ever check a knife like this. It will eventually, you'll get one that you won't think will fail easily, and it'll fail so easily, and it'll go right into your hand. So always lock it up. Make sure it's locked up nice and solid. Grip the spine of the handle, leaving a path for the blade. Then put your hand on this side, not this side. Don't go like this, because what will happen is one day you'll go like this, and it'll slip right through your hands and go right into your hand, and you'll get a little scar on your hand like that. So grab it from the spine, grip the handle, and give it a good rocking or two, and see if you feel any budging or moving. When you shake it from the tip back and forth, that's going to put the most amount of leverage. Even better than right here. Right here, you're probably not going to feel anything, but if you go towards the tip, that's when you'll feel if there's something there. And that's when you're more likely to slip. If the lock fails under thumb pressure, that's definitely not acceptable. I would say even a light tap is unacceptable, because, you know, same thing like, you know, with when you're putting pressure with your thumb, like, you know, you could be bearing down one day really, really hard, which is equal to a light spine whack. Or maybe you even, like, you're using your knife, right? And then your handle's like this, and then you turn and you hit a wall, right? You clip a 2x4 or something, and then it closes right on your hand. So you want to know that your lock actually works. Supposedly this carnivorous. So I was wrong about what this was, by the way. So let me take it back right now. I just recently did a video and I did talk about it too. So you'll see that tomorrow. This is not a glass breaker. I have no doubt that it wouldn't work as a glass breaker. I bet it would. But what it is this is a V ground. That's why it's called the carnivorous V. So basically, the lock face snugs inside that V. So there's two spots that it hits. So basically, this liner is wedged in to that V that's cut in up on top. So it's basically touching in two spots. It supposedly makes the liner lock stronger. I haven't tested it, but supposedly it does. So we'll have to maybe test that theory out. Just bought the Kaiser Cormorant LMAX Fat Carbon yesterday. Kaiser does knock it out of the park on some models, but I agree, Civivi has the edge. Yeah, and that Cormorant's a really good one. It's another one I need to feature again. It's been a little bit since I featured it. Haha, been there, done that, cut my hand like butter through the thumb. The good old days, I tell you. Yeah. How's that Herman sting? Do you love it? I absolutely love it. Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. Yeah, this thing is a phenomenal knife. They're works of art, man. He does such a damn good job. And then the sound of it. Yeah, it's beautiful. And you know what I love? I wish his plunge grinds were a little bit better, but this one's not horrible, but I have seen some other ones. But what I love is that he does the little details really good. Lock bar access, you know, the detent is nice and early. You never fumble with the detent. Like, it's always past the detent. The detent is tuned so well for this flipper tab. Like, you look at that flipper tab and you're like, man, that's a pokey flipper tab, but it's not, because the detent is tuned to perfection. So it never allows it to get pokey. By the time you start feeling poke, it's already launched. He does a really good job with those. Jem, thank you for the 2 bones, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Have a Marfion custom SOCOM Elite prototype I want to sell. What would be a fair price? A Marfion custom SOCOM Elite prototype? It depends, man. I don't know what year did they do a prototype on those? That would have been like the SOCOM came out in like 98 or something. 1998. I have one from 99, a mini SOCOM Elite. So I don't know what year that is, but that's what I would ask. I'd ask, what year is it, what materials, yada yada yada. But they usually start out, I think, at like 700. I've seen them, but right now prices went up on everything, so probably 900 to 1100 now. But it's hard to say, man. You'll see some of the brand new ones being sold for like $2,000, just depending on the materials and everything. Stasa 23's in the house. Shout out to Stasa 23. Definitely go and subscribe to his channel. Give him some love. I loosened the pivot and it falls shut now. Yeah, I had to tighten it because it came with side-to-side blade play. So that's what I mean about slightly. Like, people don't realize that, like, when you, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying people period with knives, like, it is a tiny, tiny, tiny adjustment between it having play side to side and it being nice and smooth. And that adjustment can literally be you damn near just breathing on how tight that is. So you want to find that happy place. Check your other hardware. Make sure your other hardware hasn't flexed at all. And in fact, in a lot of cases, loosen the hardware and tighten it back up. Make sure that these weren't tight and then this loosened and it kind of wedged that way, because that can happen too. But yeah, just adjust it and figure out where that happy place is. You'll find it. Bought a Hinder Eclipse, wanted a sharper edge. Suggestions? Edges are unused. I have an advanced workshop. Something simple I can do just as a dicey edge, or what would you? I'd reprofile it. I wouldn't. That's me though. I would say it probably came with a 25-degree edge bevel. See, I don't know what you got, because I got some Hinders that came with like 22.5, 22 to 25, and I got one that came like at like 32 degrees per side. So I don't know, like, what degree yours is at right now, but regardless, I would lower it back to like 17 degrees per side. I like putting 15 degrees per side on my Hinders. Usually I have a couple that I have 17, and then I have others, my favorites, at 15. So I would tell you between 17 and 20 degrees is what I'd recommend. If you're comfortable with having a big ass bevel and a super slicey edge, then I would say 15, but 17 and 20 degrees is what you're going to want. But yeah, I would say get diamonds. Make sure it's diamonds. Don't use sandpaper or anything like that. Make sure you're using diamonds. Get a diamond plate, or get some sort of system to be able to sharpen it. I would say if you have knives like Hinders, you're going to want a system, a good system. So get a good sharpening system. That way you can put a nice professional edge on there. If you knew how to freehand sharpen, I'd tell you to do that. But if you don't, I wouldn't tell you to practice on that. Get a good fixed angled system. Do they even allow you to have sharp pointy things in Canada? Burn. Come on, Canadians, you can let him get away with that. Herman makes some of the finest pieces one can buy. His work is second to very, very few. That is true. Yeah, he does incredible work. I would love, I don't know if he has one, and if you guys know of one, let me know. But I would love to see a multiple deployment Herman, one with a reverse flick and a flipper tab. That'd be awesome. Marfiones are cash grabs all the way. Well, they're custom, so, the blades are hand ground, and there's a lot of work that goes into them. So if you want to get and that's how they can get away with, say, not doing certain grinds and certain this and certain that, because they just do them on the Marfion custom. So if you want to get, say, a hollow ground SOCOM Elite, well, you got to get the Marfion custom one or send yours in for a regrind. If you were to buy your ideal PM2 today, what steel would you select for everyday use? I would get the crew wear and my Carta one. That's what I would get. I would definitely use my Blade HQ or GP Knives link when you do though. But yeah, I would definitely 100% do the crew wear one. Now, I love my favorite one is the K390, but you can't get the K390 one, so the crew wear. The crew wear is like neck and neck with K390. Like it's right there for me. I love crew wear. And Spyderco does a phenomenal job with their crew wear, man. They do such a good job with their steels. You almost feel spoiled using their steels, when you start comparing them to other ones. Like just even the level of sharpness, the way they deburr, the way the burr comes up, just how clean the apex comes out. There's a reason why Michael Christie, for so long was just making these super hair whittling edges that were just insane, because of Spyderco. Now, I don't even think at that point, at least, a while back, I don't even think Spyderco was even doing as good of a job as they are today. What is my all-time favorite fidget knife? I just got it. And it is the Rook. I just watched my last video, the video I just posted a little bit ago. This one's probably, but this is out of the range for most people. So I'll give you something else. The EMP knives are really good. The EMP knives, if you're wanting a budget knife, I would say Kaiser's got some fucking great knives for fidget factor. So probably one of the Kaisers. Even and then you know what? Actually, the the Civivi Sentinel Strike. There you go. The Civivi Sentinel Strike. That's a good one. Zero tolerances are literally aeronautical levels of precision. Yeah, dude. Yeah, they got amazing precision. Shuro people don't like when people see the price of like a Shuro, they're like, man, how could it cost that much? And then when they feel it, like they're like, oh, it's just another knife, it's great, but they don't realize over time. So like I've had a Shuro that I have flipped thousands of times, literally thousands of times, and had 10 knives next to it that all pivots came loose. They wound getting blade play, eventually getting lock rock, things like that. While the Shuro just stays true, strong, perfectly centered, no movement in the blade. The pivot never works its way out. Like their precision is so good. They just have it like down pat. And then among a lot of other things too. Gem, another 10 bones. Thank you, brother. Awesome advice. 17 to 20 diamond plate. Thanks, Jared. You rock, dude. Not a problem. Not a problem. But yeah, make sure you're using a diamond plate. I would say 300 grit or lower, and then get a 600 grit. If you have those two plates, you'll get a good edge. And then make sure you have a strap. Hinder was showing a full track at Blade Show with a pure Warncliffe blade. It's dope. I was told it'll eventually go into production. No shit. Really? That's cool. Canadians can't fight back or their social credit scores will go down. Oh, Seth, I'm off. You all have a good night. Take care, Seth, man. Thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. And thank you for joining. Adventure Man with the 2 bones. Finally got my hands on a Pro Tech Malibu. Good for you. That's a good, what was it? Like last year, they were like impossible to get. People were like pissed. I mean, pissed. I remember getting tons of comments, like even in my lives, like, when is the Malibu going to be available? When are they going to be on sites? And every time they showed up, they're gone. Now they're available. They're available now. You can get them. I know it's a year later, but you can definitely get them. On the CVV Praxis, would a 14-degree edge bevel be too thin for that blade geometry? No, I would say I wouldn't go to 14. I'd do 15 if you're gonna go that low. It does good between 17 and 15. So that's what I would do. 14 is not that much lower, but between 15 and 17 is personally what I would do. But no, it should do just fine. It's the thing is though, is that if you do start experiencing some microchipping, then raise it or throw a micro bevel on it. The one thing you can always do if you want to do a low angle and you're worried about microchipping or anything, if possible, do a convex edge. A convex edge will give you that slicey performance while holding a little more toughness behind the apex. It definitely makes the apex more stable. That's what I'm saying, Aaron. When is the Mordax coming back? I know exactly what you mean. I've been just waiting for that fucker to drop so I can do more videos on it. I hate throwing in videos because, like I said, I don't like to sit here and broadcast knives nobody can get. And that is one that every time I show, people are like, man, I wish I could get one. And it's like, I feel bad. Yeah, the Civivi Vision, that's another great fidget one. That one's definitely very fidgety. What's your opinion? I live in California. I want to carry an auto knife. Never been arrested. Just want to have one in my pocket. I am nuts. Is anyone else have an opinion to this? Too big of a risk? No, you can carry an auto in California. You just have to carry a Cali legal one. So go to my link in my description, and you can go to Blade Ops or Blade HQ and go to Kershaw USA Made Knives or Kershaw's Autos. Kershaw has like 3 or 4 Cali legal autos that you can get, and they'll say Cali legal, and you can even maybe look it up like that. So Brandon, thank you for the 2 bones. I do appreciate it, man. Thank you. Which TS Prof system do you recommend for a novice sharpener? The new one, the Pioneer for a novice sharpener. Now, if you were like wanting to be a pro sharpener, I'd say go with the Cadet Pro or the KO3. But for you, Mark P, get that damn Pioneer. Get the Pioneer. Pioneer's a good one. It's a really good one. I'll tell you what, I do have another system I'm about to show really, really soon. You just might want to hold off because it's a little tiny bit more affordable. And it's really, really good. In fact, if you want, I can probably grab you the link right now and you guys can check them out. But yeah. TechCom has some awesome Cali legal autos. It's the Stubby Love. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I think it has to be 2 inches and under the blade or something like that. So what I would say is depending on what you're wanting it for, right? If you're just wanting it for EDC use, then a 2-inch blade ain't too bad. If you're wanting it for self-defense, luckily Kershaw has some Hawkbill ones that will be devastating for a self-defense knife if that's what you're thinking. This may sound crazy in the chat, but I find traditional slip joints from GEC Case the best fidget knives. No, it doesn't sound crazy because I personally like a good walk and talk knife, and I understand the fidget factor with slip joints. Granted, I don't think they're the most fidgety, but I do like to fidget with them, and I can understand why people like to fidget with them. Is $540 a good price for the Sponto XM18 Triway S45? Yeah, that's fair price. As long as it's like, is it new? As long as it's not fucked up. Some people say Jared needs to get a life. I disagree. He's a badass. He takes them. There you go. Thanks, Stones. Thank you, Stones. Just learn freehand and don't worry about a system. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that to somebody trying to sharpen a hinder for the first time. Like I say, if you have to sharpen something like that and you got money for something like that, you're gonna want a professional edge. You don't want to get an edge in 2 years, right? So I would not recommend anybody sharpen up their like something, especially something like that that's thick behind the edge, because hinderers take a minute to sharpen freehand, unless if you like are a pro, right? If you know what you're doing, it's different. But when you're struggling to learn, you need something thin, super thin. So I would recommend getting a system if you have knives like hinderers, you know, like if you have a whole bunch of Civivis and stuff, you know, yeah, fucking learn how to freehand. It'll literally change your life. Learning how to freehand. Now I know there are some people out there that is just absolutely out of the question. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about that. They only want a sharp edge. And I get it. Get a fixed angle system. But if you care at all, like if you're ever hunting, fishing, camping, you need to know how to sharpen a knife out in the field. You know, think about this. Think about this. Think about being the guy that has all the gear, right? All the gear for when shit hits the fan. You got the gear for if Mother Nature hits your town so hard that you literally lose your house and you got to go off in the backwoods, or if there's a fucking zombie apocalypse, or if all of a sudden there's like a government takeover and there's World War III, something like that, and you don't even know how to sharpen your knife out in the field. You got all this gear, all this damn gear, years of food preserved and all this bullshit, but you don't even know how to sharpen your knife. Wouldn't that be a bitch? Wouldn't that be a bitch to be so prepared, but not even prepared enough to know how to sharpen a knife out in the field? Scotty H with the 10 bones. Hey, Jared. Thanks again for the Asher from the giveaway a few weeks ago. A nice little EDC, not a problem. And anybody who has stuff coming now that we have getting ready to ship out, we'll be shipping out probably Monday. So, yeah, because I know we have some stuff going like to Alice and a few other people. So, that stuff will all be shipped out probably Monday. If you have 300 knives at the end of the world, you might not have to sharpen them. Yeah, but what's going to happen, though, is I'll tell you what will happen is if you have 300 knives and it's that type of environment, you don't have 300 knives. You have money. That's what you have, because that's money. That's currency, literally. Like what you can trade a good knife for, like in an apocalypse situation. Fuck, man, that would be like gold. It'd literally be like gold, especially a good one. Yeah. So you wouldn't have 300. You'd have probably 5, because 295 of them would be getting traded for food, water, this, that, probably ammunition. Just like bullets and guns, how valuable that would be. Jared, were the dates you said you can't do lives next Sunday falls on the 3rd? Yeah, no, Saturday and Sunday. So no live on Saturday and Sunday. So I know that's normally a members live, and I feel bad because we just got 90 new members, so that's why I need to set something up before that. But I can't make it on those days, so we'll figure it out though. Yeah, I like to fidget with lockbacks also. Slow roll can be satisfying. Absolutely. I do too. I enjoy a good lockback when I can drop it onto my finger, kind of like a triad. There's some other back locks that I can do that with. I actually do it with the real steel knife. There's a real steel knife that I like doing it with. But yeah, I love that's the thing is I like all action. There isn't really any action I dislike except for assist. And even assisted can be enjoyable to some extent. But I love a good manual knife. Are you planning on getting something similar to MC's custom stitch? No, I don't even know what that is. What do you get? You got a custom Microtech stitch? No, I just got this. So there's my custom. And I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. Do you like Blade City? I don't really go. I mean, no, it's not that I dislike them. I just don't really. I need to go to their site more, I guess. I just don't know about them really. But I'll check them out. Best titanium flipper under 300, dude. There's so many. There's so many. It's hard to say which one would be the best, but oh, you know what? Actually, I do got one. The F22 kickstop right now. It's Smoky Mountain Knives. My Smoky Mountain. Do I have Smoky Mountain Knife Works down there? I better have Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Do I not have it? Okay, I'm gonna grab it right now and put it in the thing. Because it's really fast. I love how their affiliate thing works. It's so simple. So I have it now. I'm gonna put it right in the link down in the description. Oh no, it's already down there. It is down there. So all right, it's under Urban EDC. I should have it up there by. But anyways, Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Use that link and go there. They have them for like, I forget now, like 275 or something, 250. That is an awesome flipper. And the flipper tab doesn't come out. Like if I flip this, right? The flipper tab is now right here, right? So when I close it, it's right here. When I open it, it's right here. With the kickstop, it's not. With the kickstop, it's separated from the blade, which allows it to have tons of leverage. Like it's really good. That'd be probably the best one. Haven't seen many freehand sharpeners produce edges as consistent as fixed angle systems. Maybe I'm wrong. I can. I absolutely can. And I've proven it in thousands of videos. Thousands, at least hundreds. Yeah, I'd get just as consistent as a fixed angle system. For sure. I can even do better. And the reason why is because, okay, so with a fixed angle system, it's the same angle all the way across, right? Even if there's subtle differences from heel to tip, it's very little. So say if you have the blade geometry on your knife goes from thick to thin, meaning when you sharpen it, your bevel at the tip is going to be really tiny and the rest of your bevel is going to be big with a fixed angle system. But if you have freehand, you have the ability to adjust your angle as you're sharpening. So I can choose to flex my wrist at the end, which will make my angle lower at the tip. So I can, and then like say if it's a mixed matched angle, like say if one part of the edge is slightly thicker than the other or something, I can adjust that freehand, no problem, without having to do anything, just understanding it. And then also the best thing about freehand, this is the best thing. So I can do a perfect V grind, perfect flat V grind. I can also do a convex edge. The best edge is a semi-convex, meaning it's almost a perfect V, but it has a tiny bit of convex, which makes the edge just as slicey as the V grind, just with a little bit more edge stability. So yeah, but it does take a long time to get that good. Hey, Jem with another 10 bones. Thank you, man. Where do I get my hinder sharpened by a pro that can change the geometry as you suggested? I will pay for good job. I have Koenigs, Norseman's. I want the same thing. Jem, I wish I could help you right now, man, but my books are closed. But I will say Kyle Coonley, he sharpens. Lacey, she sharpens. Lacey's right here. Who else? Blades and Fades, they sharpen. So there's a lot of sharpeners. Just reach out in the chat. Somebody's going to contact you. I promise you. Somebody in the chat that wants to sharpen his knives. He's got plenty of them. Make sure you know if you do a good job or not. Give him a reach out. Not a reach around, but a reach out. You can get the Worn Tech at Precision Knife Works for 10% off right now till the end of the month with code NKD10 makes it $225. Jared can far exceed a freehand edge, no doubt. I felt several of his edges, and damn, son, they be sharp. Thank you, Stasa. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it does take a lot of time, though. Like, it did take me a good long time to be able to get as good as I am right now. But I will say, I was able to get decent results within a week. Now, don't get me wrong. If I looked at my 1 week edges today, I wouldn't think they were good. So I just want to be clear. I'd say they were probably shit. But at the time for me, it was sharp. it was cutting through paper cleanly, right? It was a V, like the edge bevels mostly matched up. So you granted there's facets and there was convexing and there was this and there was that. There's nothing wrong with convexing, but you know, if you're trying to get a V grind and you're expecting a V grind, then you know you might feel a little bit let down getting a convex. But what happens is man, when you start learning how to freehand, you're happy as shit when you get a consistent edge. When you can run your nail down the edge like this and it feels like glass and it's slicing through paper nice and clean, you're on the way. Luck Knife says, I don't care too much for Marfione Designs aesthetics. His stuff looks like high-end mall ninja. So this is what I say to that, because while I agree, I also disagree, and here's why. So mall ninja stuff comes from their knives trying to look like the real thing. So mall ninja to me is something that it's in cheap materials. It looks cheap. It has cheap materials, cheap put together, cheap build quality, but yet they're trying to look like an amazing knife or an amazing style. The ones that are amazing with the good materials, good fit and finish, good everything, to me, that's what the mall ninjas are trying to look like. So it's the opposite way in my mind. They're not trying to look like the mall ninja stuff. The mall ninja stuff's trying to look like them. That's just the way I see it, though. Shout out to all my mall ninja lovers. Pull this thing up. Just want to make sure I can see the chat. Okay. 177 people in here, man. Thank you guys for joining. From what I've learned in the members' lives, I'm getting pretty good at sharpening. Well worth the price of membership. That's awesome, Ward. I'm very, very happy. And that makes me feel even worse that I'm not going to be there for the one on Sunday. But like I said, we're going to make up for it, whether it's before or after. And yeah, I hope I'm happy you're getting something out of it. I think, and also, by the way, anybody who's in here, I have an entire playlist. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Maybe I should show you. So if you go to a YouTube channel, I'm going to teach you guys something really quick. Let me pull my channel up. So if I pull my channel up really quick, I'm going to show, this goes for anybody's YouTube channel, not just mine, anybody's. Mostly mine, though. If you go to the channel, okay, see the channel? Look at the top. You see home. You guys see that? Yeah, you guys see it. So you see home, videos, shorts. Here's all my shorts. Here's all my lives. Here's the playlist. Now, this is what I talk about when I say check out my playlist. Look down here. We have self-defense knife videos, knife collection videos, Kara's bullshit. I don't know why she has this in here. EDC items and sets, but here, the one I'm looking for is knife sharpening. So we have, I didn't mean to do that. You can go through the playlist of the knife sharpening. Why did it? Let me, I don't want to view full playlist. I just want to go to the play. There we go. So now look at all these sharpening videos. Every single one of these are teaching knife sharpening from every type of edge, all different styles. I teach everything in here. I have hundreds of videos. How many videos are 153 videos just in my sharpening playlist. And this doesn't even count for all the lives I've done. I mean, some of them are in here. There are some lives in here, by the way, quite a bit of them, but most of these are pre-recorded. And I'll tell you what, especially if you get to some of my, like I have some going back for years, but my editing has gotten a lot better. So, but yeah, definitely check that out. And that goes for everybody's channel. They all have playlists. Stop It says, I sharpen a lot, just only my own because I hate sharpening ever since my accident. It has taken all the enjoyment out of it. That sucks. Yeah, that sucks. You know, I'll tell you what, man, I've always enjoyed it. Even when I wasn't that great at it, I've always enjoyed it. Now I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it quite a bit, but I don't like when I'm pressed for time and I have to do it. It takes the enjoyment out of it for me. I like knowing that when I sit down, I'm sitting down to sharpen because I want to, and because it needs it, right? Obviously, it needs the sharpening. But when you have as many knives as I have, I can just switch knives. So when I want to sharpen, Speaking of sharpening, Osborne 940S90V is getting a 17 degree on my TS Prof KO3. Love this knife, and the sharpening system is leaps above most. Yes, it is. That is a very professional system. And yeah, 17 degrees on the 940 is great. I have 15 degrees on my S90V one. So yeah, it makes a nice big bevel. If you want really slicey, 15 degrees, it makes a big bevel, but it's beautiful bevel, in my opinion. How do you turn a V grind convex? So there's a couple different ways, but like if you were going to do it freehand, my number one way, the way I teach, most likely, let me be honest, 99% of you are going to do a convex edge no matter what if you freehand, right? But that doesn't mean it's going to be consistent or good. Now, my favorite way to teach, let me get something as a stone. So let's pretend this is a stone. Okay, this is my stone. I like to teach in hand so you take your knife, get your angle, set it down, and now sharpen it like this in hand. Don't put the stone down, keep it in hand. The reason why is because what you can do is you can move both the stone and your hand, and you're not trying to convex. You are literally trying to the best of your ability to hold a V grind. You are not trying to convex. It will just naturally occur. So do not try to convex. Literally try your best to hold a perfect angle the entire time. But what's going to happen is you having both movements is just going to naturally convex. And it works very, very well. Actually, that's the number one way I would tell people to learn how to sharpen before anything else. You know, if you're going to learn freehand. Holy cow, we just got a Mark. Been a member for 1 month. I got a worn tack full hollow grind. It's so thin. They all come hollow, but yeah, I know you can order the full hollows. That's EDC 69.99. Thank you, man. I appreciate the 70 bones. Hell yeah. That's a nice donation, man. Thank you so much. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to That's EDC dropping some dimes. Question: if I used a smooth river rock to sharpen a knife, which one of y'all metalheads would be able to tell the grit? I could definitely tell the grit, but I could tell you, you're gonna have a shit time trying to do that. So, like, you know, just like with stones, you know, you want something aggressive. So you'd be better off using sandpaper than a river rock. Or not saying you couldn't use a river rock, but a river rock, man, it's gonna take you a long fucking time. The best thing you could do, like if I was out in the field, like let's say I was really, really out in the field struggling, I would go and try to find some slate or some sort of soft stone, and then I would take it to another stone that was mostly flat, like a big boulder like thing. And I would work it for like 3, 4, 5 days, flattening it until it's as flat as I can possibly get it on a surface. And then I would use that. Because, you know, when you're out in the field, it's like that. You have all the time in the world. Now, if I was hunting or something and like it wasn't that type of situation, I would probably have a pocket stone with me already. But if I had to use a damn sharpening or a damn stone out of, you know, a river or something, then I would just work it however I could to get it as good as I could. But it's going to be tough because what you need is, in order to set a bevel, you need some abrasiveness. It has to be abrasive. You know, just because it's a rock and it's hard doesn't mean you can do it, but it's going to take so long. Good tip. Haven't seen the two-handed sharpening before. It works really good. I'm telling you that. And you know what else is beautiful about the two-handed sharpening is that, so when you're down here, right? If the stone's down here, you're so far from the edge. You're like this, putting your head down, trying to look underneath it. But when you have it in hand, you can pull it right up to your eyes. You can look at that and literally watch it. You can watch your angle. You can make sure your angle's nice and perfect. If you start lifting, you'll notice it. If you start dropping, you'll notice it because it's so close to your eye. The hardest part is going to be when you push away from yourself because you can't really see it as much, but you'll feel it eventually. You'll start feeling where it's at. And regardless, whatever angle you pick, just stick with it. Just hold it. You don't really worry so much about the angle. Get as close as you can, but whatever angle you choose, stick with it. That's the most important part, sticking with it. Lisa, there you go, Jim. I have used the top of my truck window to hone an edge. Yeah, I mean, you can use a lot of different things for honing. Luckily, honing an edge, as long as it's harder than or a hard surface, it will work. Especially if it's harder than the steel you're doing. Preferably, you want it harder, like ceramic or some sort of stone. But when it comes to full-blown sharpening, you need something that's going to chew away at the steel. Isn't it harder to hold an angle when the stone isn't flat on the table? No, because the angle is your hand. So let me show you. So when I'm gonna hold my angle, right, I pinch my knife. I pinch my knife the way I want. Let me move this so you guys can see. I pinch my knife the way I want, right? So let's say it's like this. This is my angle. My angle's already set right now. Right now, my angle is set. I put it down. Right now, it's set on there. So I'm holding this firm. The only thing that can change my angle right now is either my wrist going up or my wrist going down. So as long as I lock this, and now I'm not going to allow it to go up and I'm not going to allow it to go down. It's locked. I'm locking it. The way I'm going to move it is with my elbow, not with my wrist. So right there's my angle. Now, when I want to move it, I go back and that's my elbow moving, not my wrist. So now my angle's locked in. So now I don't have to worry about losing my angle because there's two different angles you're looking at. You have this angle, which is going from heel to tip. So like when I want to get the tip, I have to lift my elbow to get to the tip. See that? That's the same thing if I have an angle like this or if it's straight up and down. So if I have an angle like this, it's still the same thing. When I want to go across and get to the tip, I just lift my elbow. I don't have to change angle to do that. So lock your wrist, stone in hand. Now I don't have to worry about changing my angle because my wrist is locked. Wherever I find it, I'll find that angle. There it is. Now I lock that wrist. And now I work it. But that's the gist. I used to pack my work sharp field sharpener with me in the woods when I was hunting. It works great for that. Yeah, that's exactly what I would use. That is what I would recommend for everybody to use. I personally think anybody that has knives, I don't even care if you're not even an outdoorsman. You should have a field sharpener. Literally the work sharp field sharpener. I have them in my store down in the description, down in the description in the Neevesknives store. You can get one in there, but it's just a little pocket stone. It has 2 diamond plates, a ceramic rod, and a strap, all attached to one system with the angle already set for you. So you have the angle set for you. You have the stones, you have the strap, you have a honing rod, and you even have a little place for serrations, all in one little system that fits in your backpack or in your back pocket. And since it's diamonds, it'll work on any steel. Vapin says, when using diamond emulsions for stepping, how much does the substrate play a role in grit, leather, wood, metal, etc.? When using diamond emulsion for stropping, how much does the substrate play a role in grit? So if you have leather and you want to, it's going to be the different kinds of stropping compounds. So like if you want a diamond emulsion, right, and it's a liquid, then you're going to want the firm side of the leather, not the suede. So you don't want the furry suede side. You want the skin side, the flesh side, or whatever, the dense side, because the diamond emulsion will spread across it. The fluffier side, the suede side, it'll just sink right into it and you won't be able to spread it. Now, as far as wood goes, as long as it's balsa wood, it'll spread just fine. It doesn't really matter. And then I wouldn't use anything with metal. So, I would personally just use leather or wood. That's going to work the best. As far as grit goes, the coarser the grit, the faster, or the more it will work for toothier edges, or for lower grit edges, which is probably the majority of what people use. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking with that, but you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can put coarse or fine on either one, leather or wood. But as far as leather goes, you do want to be careful with what side you're using it on, depending on, because if you have the crayon stuff, the stuff that comes in like a block, you want the furry side. Personally, for me, I like the furry side for that stuff. You can use the top of your window. It acts like a ceramic. Yeah, but it's not the best. I'm not saying you can't use it. You absolutely can, but it doesn't mean it's optimal, right? Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's optimal. Kind of like the bottom of the cup thing. Can you do it? Yeah. But is a ceramic rod better? Absolutely. Like 10 times better. Like I've used the bottom of cups before. It works. It'll work just fine. But the ceramic rod is made for it. The surface is designed for the edge to come across. It just works better. You got something to hold the handle with, you know, you can prop it up and literally watch your angle so you can make sure your angle is precise. It's just better, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of different things you can use. Just like wood, you know, you can strike your edge through wood if you have like a burr, or if you need to realign your edge, you can just strike it through wood and that'll help realign your edge straight again. Like there's a lot of little tricks, but that doesn't mean it's better than using a honing rod. You want to avoid the neighbor's plates right after they feed you dinner. What about flipping to the other side with, okay, so when you flip to the other side, it's going to be a little trickier, but here, this is the trick that I like to use. Okay. I'm going to show you. So I can't, I'm just going to lower the camera a little bit so you guys can see down here. So let's say this is the stone, right? I take my thumb and I will go right in the middle. That's where I like the best. That's about, for me, 17 degrees per side. You see I marked my thumb right there, just a little line right there. And then what I'll do is I'll kiss it to my pointer finger and make sure it's on a flat surface like this. And then when I see the little dot there, I trace it. Okay. So now I have a mark there and a mark there. Now the angle on this side is the same as the angle on this side. You just got to pick a spot on the blade. So I'm also going to take my marker and I'm going to mark right there. So now it's the exact same every time, because you want to make sure the place where you line your little thumb up, line it to that line is going to be the exact same. So now when I set it down here, it's going to be the exact same as if I'm on this side and I line it up right there with that side. So now I can find it and then hold it, lock my wrist and go. Or go the other way, find it, lock my wrist and go. Now you can also do on the table or on the bench where you just literally just go like this. You know, just don't grind your finger into the stone. Let it float. It's literally floating, and you can pick it up too. Like literally like just find your angle and then lift your thumb up a little bit so it's not dragging on the stone, but just use it as an indicator and keep checking it. There we go. Hopefully that made sense. I can't wait for the tie scales for the CV Vision. I already dyed them. The tie scales for the CV Vision. There's titanium scales for the CV Vision? Huh. I dyed them black, so it's satin blade and black scales. Looks great. Oh, you had the JG10? In my humble opinion, changing the angle over the course of the blade is most important on some of the more uncommon things like Persians. That really benefits highly from angular blending. I love practicing this. What grit extends or is the line from sharpening to regrind or reprofile? What grit extends? So I personally, I think you should always start at the lowest grit. Now, granted, if you're not reprofiling, you don't have to go down to 100 grit, but you should at least be at 300. The reason why, let me make sense. So even if I'm not doing a lot, I'm not really removing any steel, right? Maybe just a little bit. I'm still going to remove the same amount, right? It doesn't matter. The only difference is if I use a 600 grit, it's going to take me twice as long as if I use a 300 grit. So why not start with a 300 grit, do my sharpening, and then move to the 600 grit, and then it'll take me half the time, because the 300 grit is so much more abrasive. It cuts so much faster. So then when I go to the 600, I'm not going to be on the 600, but for 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, right? The 300 grit, I might be on a little bit longer because it's going to be the longest stone, because it's the first stone. The first stone is where you spend the most time. First stone is always the most important. But for me, the first stone should always be between 0 and 300. Really, 300 grit is the max, but I like between 140 and 300. But as long as it's between 140 and 300, that's a reprofiling stone. But you can also use it for your first stone with any edge. Now, if you have a 400 grit, that'll work. That's still very aggressive. It's very close to a 300, but you want to keep it as coarse as possible for your first stone. But anytime you're reprofiling, the thicker the grind, the longer it's going to take. So if you reprofile, say, a Medford, it's going to take you a long time compared to reprofiling a Civivi, right? A Civivi is going to take you 20, 30 minutes to reprofile. A Medford could take you hours. So you want to start with a very coarse, very, very coarse stone when you're reprofiling something very thick. So 140, I'd rather have than a 300 for something like that. I sharpen my larger blades, moving the stone back and forth on the blade. That's how most people do it on the fixed angled systems. Is there a difference in which side of the strop to use, smooth versus coarse? Yes and no. So, like I said, if you're using a diamond emulsion, like if it's a liquid diamond emulsion, then use the smooth side. You want to use the flesh side, or sorry, the skin side, or smooth side, the flat side, whatever you want to call it. As far as the coarse side, the suede side, that would be more for like the crayon type of stropping compounds. You can use either side, really. It doesn't matter. You can use them both, but one's going to work better for one type of stropping compound versus another. But you can still use it. Todd says, I still use my DMT diafold double-sided and sharpeners in the field, but after getting the Work Sharp one, it definitely has more options. The DMT ones are still used for large tools. So yeah, the diafolds are really good. That's what Bama Knife Guy uses. Bama Knife Guy uses, he's been through tons of them. Like, that's what he uses all the time. He even sharpens and reprofiles entire knives on them. So yeah, those diafolds, and they're cheap. They're cheap. They're diamonds. They work. They wear out. Throw them away. Get a new one. Dan Cat, thank you, brother. Been a member for 6 months. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining, Dan. I know you're working hard out there. AccuSharp diamond paddle is my field sharpener. Very cool. Very cool. As long as you got something, Chuck Norris doesn't even need a knife here. Just stares at the material until it splits in two. Chuck Norris roundhouse kicks his burrs off too. The Work Sharp I have starts with 220 grit. So I start there. There you go. Exactly like I said, though, right? It's under 300. 300 or under, I should say. So yeah, that's where you start. Always start there. Always, always, always. Because like I said, even if you're not trying to remove much material, let's just say you're trying to just refinish your edge. You're still going to remove the same amount of steel. The difference is starting with the 220 is going to make it go faster. And the faster it goes, the less frustrating it is for you, the easier it is, the better your edge will turn out. I work for a ceramic company that makes the Spyderco stones for them. No shit. And we can take the defects. Wait, hold on a second. Spyderco stones for them, and we can take the defects. I have a stack of them. I glued some leather to some for stropping, smooth side out. Very cool. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Um, yeah, I imagine you're gonna have a bunch of defects, right? You know, they're supposed to be perfectly flat, and any sort of defect from being perfectly flat, it has to be a certain thickness. So, yeah, I imagine there's gonna be quite a few of those, but that's cool. You can take them home. Those things are not cheap. Do you have any suggestions for best digital angle finder? Since I use the Venice stones on my work sharp, the angle finder is not true anymore. Well, you should have a digital angle finder. Which work sharp do you have? Because the Worksharp Professional comes with the digital angle finder, and you can use that. You just have to redo it. You don't pay attention to the rod one. You pay attention to the actual digital, but you can use any of them, really. Any one of them, as long as it's a magnetic one, they all work good. I got like 3 or 4 different ones. They all work the same. The one I got from Russia, though, that one is a little bit tricky because it's from Russia. But all the other ones, though, that you get off of Amazon are really good. I got one from what the heck are they called? Not Gritomatic. What the hell is it called? That new sharpening system I got one in there, and it's really good too. But yeah, you can get any one of them off of Amazon. They all work good. As long as make sure it has a magnet, though. Make sure it has a magnet, and you should be good. And also make sure it's small. Make sure it's not a big ass one. I was curious if I could just put the diamond emulsion straight on the ceramic. No. Or would the ceramic grip play a role? Yes. You don't want to put diamond emulsion straight on ceramic. Now, there's people that put the 3M stuff on their work sharp stones and use them as a sharpening stone. But no, use for as far as diamond emulsion, use a strop or balsa wood, something like that. Strop is going to work probably the best. But balsa wood works really good too. So that's what I would use. Your ceramic, you save your ceramic. You want your ceramic because your ceramic is a valuable tool. You're going to use it for multiple different things. Like I don't know if it's a ceramic rod or a ceramic plate, but it doesn't matter. You can use it for honing. You can use it as a finishing stone. You can use it as a stone for micro beveling. You can use it to deburr, like a pesky burr. You can use it for polishing a surface off. Maybe there's like a burr on like a flipper tab or something. Like there's so many things you can use those ceramics for. I love the Workshop Pro system I recently bought. I'm a total amateur, and I have been putting nearly mirror razor sharp blades on all of my household knives. That's awesome, man. Very, very cool. Yeah. And if you want to get to a mirror edge, get the stone holder. Get the aftermarket stone holder, because then what you can do is you can change and get a polishing stone. You could also strop your way to a good polish, but I would get a stone first. I stopped using leather for strops. I use either wood or 3M medical tapes like Micropore or Durapore on blanks. Great feedback, no rounding the edges, and easy to replace. See, I never have a problem with rounding edges, but I'm also good at holding my angle. But the way I look at it is, just don't lift high, right? Like if you are not 100% on your angle, one, you should be able to see it. But let's say you're not good at holding the angle. Just go a little bit lower, right? Just don't go higher. There's nothing wrong with going lower. Like this would be a high angle, this would be a low angle, right? So if you go high, that's when you roll. That's an issue. So if you hold too high of an angle, that's when you can roll. But if you're not positive, go just a little bit lower. Take a couple of swipes and see if it helped. If you need to, you can raise it up slightly from there, but that way you don't roll. And the worst thing that can happen from doing that is you're going to polish the back of your bevel, but it's not going to hurt your edge. Okay, so we fucked up and did not hit scent of the day. So I told you guys we were talking about the musk and husk last week, right? And the musk and husk were these little rollers. Well, there was one fragrance that I got, which was ombre leather from Tom Ford, which I told you guys I freaking loved. It is absolutely amazing. This is a $400 fragrance, right? So getting this little roller for however much, which was cheap, gives me the scent in this bottle. Now, remember I said that this is a excuse me, this is a what the hell is it called? A concentrated version of it. So I figured, I wasn't positive, but I figured it smelled similar, but it's probably a little different because the concentrations always change the scent, right? And these are fragrances we're talking about right now. Well, I wanted to smell the real thing of ombre leather, but I did not have the money to buy ombre leather. So, because they're like $400 for that fragrance. So I got a clone of the spray, which is amber and leather. And I heard from several sources that it smells almost identical. So, and I will say it smells completely different than this one. Now there's similarities, but I can see where this one is concentrated and why it's so much different. This is a lot sweeter. So this one has less leather in it and a lot of sweetness. This one has a lot of leather in there, a little bit of sweetness, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I like them both. They're just a little bit different. Like I said, they're similar because they're replicating the same fragrance, but this is concentrated. And anytime you change the concentration in a fragrance, like if you look at fragrances, you'll have one fragrance and there'll be an EDT, which is an eau de toilette. You'll have an EDP, which is an eau de parfum, and then you'll have a parfum, right? That's 3 different concentrations. The eau de toilette is the lowest concentration. The parfum is the highest concentration. Well, with these roller sticks, they're oils, they're not sprays. So they're a very concentrated oil, and you just take it off like that, you just roll it on, and then you can dab it, dab it, dab it, and it smells freaking amazing. And they clone fragrances that are very expensive. They clone like the most popular fragrance. Not even all of them are super expensive, but they clone very, very popular fragrances. That's what they do. So I wanted to try the ombre leather, the Tom Ford ombre leather. So I got this one, amber and leather. And I will say, it's really good. So what it does is right off the bat, it's different. So for 5 minutes, it has an opening that to me, it's good, but it's not great yet. It's good though. It's a little sweet, a lot of leather, but there's a little bit of like a lipsticky smell, but that goes away really quick. So you're only going to smell that for like 3 minutes. Then that goes away, and then the sweetness comes out, the sweetness in the leather. The leather stays with it the whole way through and through, at least from my experience. And the sweetness just kind of comes out. It's a light sweetness, so it's not like heavy like this one. This one's heavy sweetness. This one's almost syrupy sweet. This one's light sweet, heavy on the leather, but you can definitely smell the leather. It smells like suede. It literally smells like you're taking a leather coat or suede and sniffing it with a little bit of sweetness in there. And I'll tell you what, I can see why people love ombre leather so much and why Tom Ford ombre leather is so popular. It is really, really good. It's not a super powerful fragrance. It's definitely one, you can spray on really good. You're not going to scare anybody off. It's only going to be inviting. It is a little, not that it's a super close fragrance or anything. You'll probably have a 2-foot sillage, but that's it. But it's definitely one that when people are around you, it's an inviting smell. It's not, I wouldn't say it's one that I guess I would say that. Yeah, I think it's mostly a mass appealing fragrance. The price just isn't mass appealing unless if you get the knockoff clone one, right? That's obviously a little bit better prices, but the scent is inviting, it's fresh, it's good. Like I said, it's got the leathery notes, it's got the sweetness is almost like a not a popsicle sweet, but how can I say it? Almost like a candy sweet. It's a very small amount of candy sweetness to it. We're going to pull it up really quick just so I can show you guys the note breakdown. Now, this is the real ombre leather because I can't get the note breakdown of the clone. So this is the real deal. And I'll show you guys the price of the real deal. So here's the note breakdown. You got leather, animalic, white floral, warm spicy, amber, smoky, earthy, mossy, patchouli, and wood. Now, I do have some other fragrances coming that are clones of Tom Ford. Like I have oud wood and oud tobacco coming. So I'm excited for those. Now, I don't know where the sweetness comes in here. I'm guessing it's from the amber and from the white floral, but there's something sweet in here that comes out that's really, really good. It's just mixed really well. But like I said, you know, you can see it's not necessarily a sweet fragrance. But when I bought this one, this fucker is syrupy sweet. So you know, there's obviously a big difference there, but it's just the concentration. When the concentration is stronger or bigger, it makes it a different fragrance. So let's find out how much this stuff is. Do I have right here? 100 mil, 225 for this one. That's actually not bad for this stuff. 50 mil, 155 for this stuff. So this is a 100 mil bottle right here. This is 100 mils right here. So big bottle, 255 bucks, something like that. For half of this, it's 155. Yes, that's expensive for a fragrance. There's a lot more affordable fragrances. For this, I bought it for 30 bucks, 40 bucks, something like that. So it was cheap. Man, it smells good. But anyways, so something to check out. I can link it. I will actually link it for you guys, because I can actually link this one. I believe. Yes, I can. So, $23. So 24 bucks I can link it for right now for the 100 mil too, for the big ass bottle. So I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. What? An error occurred on YouTube. This is usually temporary. What the fuck? Okay, there it is. So I'm going to put it there and in the top of the description. If you guys want to try it. It's a I would call it a masculine fragrance. It's definitely a men's fragrance. Like I said, that first, when you first spray it, you're gonna smell a little bit of a powderiness that's gonna go away. So don't even pay attention to that, because it's gonna go away, and then the brightness of it comes out. And a lot of fragrances are like that. You know, that's why you never want to just spray a fragrance and start sniffing it, right? You want to spray it, let it die down a little bit, and then like kind of let the scent rise up to you, and kind of slowly breathe it in so you know exactly what it smells like. Love earthy forest smells. Yeah, I got a lot of really good earthy fragrances. There's a lot of really good ones. My one of my favorites probably is Mancera Boys, Sidret Boys. That stuff is fire. Call in the warm day. Honest opinion on tops, 1095. I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it. I've never really tested it. I mean, I've had their stuff on the channel, but I've never really sat there and tested tops as steel. So I've heard that they run it soft. I've also heard they do it really good. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I test a lot of steels, but I'm going to be honest about what I've tested, and I haven't tested them. I wonder how mixing that ombre leather and red tobacco would smell. I don't know, man. I don't know. It'd be different for sure. The red tobacco is so powerful that I'm not sure you can mix it with anything. You know what? I will say this: if you want to make it sweeter, something like this, because this thing has such syrupy sweetness, which it's kind of the same sweetness that's in red tobacco. So red tobacco, guys, Mancera red tobacco is one of the most loved tobacco fragrances, but also some people hate it. It's very powerful. It is a super powerful tobacco fragrance. So it can be off-putting to some people, but other people, it's their favorite fragrance ever in the world, ever created. So just depending on you, depends on whether you like it's super masculine, has a hint of sweetness, a little bit of spice, and a lot of tobacco. And it has like this animalicness to it that just it's pungent. I fucking love it. But yeah, the only thing I would mix with that is a little bit of sweetness, like a little bit of like something like this. So maybe this would work. Maybe it might work, but I think it would be a little too powerful for this. I think it would just overcharge this. I think you need something more like this to kick that off. They had 91 viewers at their highest point. Neves gets more viewers on a bad day. What are we talking about? Who? Did any of you guys check out that Blade HQ live yesterday? I didn't see it. Wow, they only had 90 viewers. I would have been one of them. I didn't know though. My mom says, "Hey, sweetheart, gotta go. Just wanted to let you know Joe uses home scent eye cream in different scents. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mom. Story time. Yeah, we'll go into story time. Let my mom get out of here. Buy the original cologne, not a knockoff. There are differences, special quality. I agree, but I just didn't. I listen. I have a lot of fragrances I've spent a lot of money on. Right? I have thousands of dollars in fragrances. Like if I wouldn't got my fragrance fucking box right now, I got a lot. So spending $25 versus spending $255, I'd rather buy it first and then see if I like it. And if I like it that much, then I'll go for, or I'll buy a sample of the good stuff, which I have tried samples of a few Tom Ford fragrances. So, but sometimes if I know the knockoff is just as good, I'll just get the knockoff, but usually yes, I will just grab the real deal. But there's nothing wrong with buying a knockoff if you ain't got the money, especially for certain fragrances that I just don't think, because they're just way overpriced. Like there are some that it's like you realize that it only costed them as much as it costed them to make it, right? Like even Jeremy Fragrance says that. Like they're not marked up like 98%. Like they costed them a couple dollars to make, and they're charging $250 because of the name. So, if you can find, man, this thing sounds so cool, doesn't it? CV Vision FG. Yeah, we need to think of story time. That's bad on my part. I will let you know when I see their next live. No, I normally have it. I normally have the bell hit. So I normally know, but I was probably just busy or something. I agree with a sample 100%. I don't know the bottles are the most expensive cost. Yeah, well, luckily samples are really affordable. Well, no, the expensive fragrances, even the samples are expensive. Like a Tom Ford, this could be like $30 for something like this, for just something tiny. And this isn't going to last you but a day or two, a couple days, maybe a few days, depending on how powerful it is. What I said did not come out right. I said Joe uses different kinds of beard creams and they smell good. I got you, Mom. Yeah. I actually gave him the beard oil I gave him when we were at Cassie's. That stuff is the stuff that I still have a little bit left. They discontinued it, so they don't even make it no more. That stuff is some of the best beard oil I've ever smelt in my life. It's from Beard Brand, and that one is Bold Fortune. Bold Fortune. Oh my goodness. It actually, what's fucking crazy is it smells like this. It smells like this and Mancera Red Tobacco mixed together. So no wonder why I love it so much. All right. So we're gonna go into story time here in 1 second. We'll just stay a little bit late. Yeah, he still uses that, and now he buys all different kinds of scents. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I got tons of I get to test a lot of fragrances, so maybe I'll help them out with getting a really good one. Because I get the bangers. The bangers. I got so many fucking fragrances, it's insane. Um that tobacco vanilla from Tom Ford needs 5 to 10 minutes dry down. Okay, Kyle, I'll definitely. I think I might have that one, a knockoff of that one on the way. But I do want to try some samples of the real deal. Husk and Musk, or sorry, Musk and Husk, Musk and Hustle. Sorry, I thought it was Husk. Musk and Hustle, Musk and Hustle, Musk and Hustle. And man, and these are called the nitro sticks. They're so good, man. They're so powerful, man. They got some kick. And this stuff right here, I'll tell you what, they tell you in the things, I told you guys this last time, that they tell you the fragrances you can mix. They give you a little paper and they show you which ones to mix, which ones not to mix. And it doesn't say you don't mix them on top of each other. You put like one dot here and one dot here, so they're next to each other. Then you can transfer them over to the other side, dibble dab them. But just being, next to each other, the scent kind of mixes perfectly where you get both fragrances. And man, I'll tell you what, blending these two, it's like one of my favorite fragrances right now, just having those two together. I like it actually better with them both than I do just with one. So like just doing that little bit right there, a little bit of both, slap it together, look like a seal. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's really, really good. The other one I had was I'm not saying, where the fuck did it go? I don't know where the card is. Polo Black is what it is. But the Polo Black, I'm not even sure if I would like this by itself. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's supposedly really fruity from the actual Polo Black. This concentrated version, it's different. It's not super fruity. It's like it's semi-sweet, but it has something in it that is pungent, but in a good way. It's really good. But when you mix it with this guy, oh my goodness, it just want smock for birthday. Hopefully, wife gets the hint. She loves my pair of 3, so I don't know if she'll get it. Just keep dropping hints. Just keep showing her different ones. Look at the scales, baby. I could get scales for it if I had it. I hope Jared doesn't ever get around any cattle with all that stuff on them. They might be all on them. They're all on me anyways. And I love cattle, by the way. Yes, it's good. I've heard bad things about Husk. Well, this is not Husk. It's Musk and Hustle. So, I don't know about Husk. I've heard. I already read that. No problem, Anthony. Where'd you find him? I just found him online. Another guy, Outlaw. He has a YouTube channel and he was doing knife content. And I was watching his knife content, and then he did a fragrance video, and he was talking about them in his video. That's where I learned about him. So I decided to check them out. And I actually like the rollers. Like I said, they're super concentrated. So they're, like I said, you just need a little dab. Like you don't sit there and rub it all over so you're all oily. You just put a little dab on there, dab it down, and dab it on your neck a little bit. It transfers pretty easily, but it's potent, which I really like. It's a little old school, Jared, but have you ever tried Terra de Hermes? Yes, I have. Little expensive, but it's my favorite scent on this earth and has been for years. Yeah, I had a little sample of it that actually Bone sent me. Bone sent me some of that. I think I might still have a little bit of it left. I'm trying to remember it. I've smelled so many fragrances. If I remember correctly, it's kind of soapy. If I'm correct about that, I think it's a little soapy, and I mean that in a good way. Yeah, I used that for a long time. The Polo Black. Did you? Yeah, this is a concentrated version, so it's not going to be identical, but I do notice this. So check this out. My Baccarat, was it Baccarat Rouge 540 does smell identical. That one actually smells just like the fragrance. So the concentrated version is the same as the semi-concentrated. As far as the other one that I got, the ombre leather or amber leather, whatever, it's different. It's just different. The concentration is different. So I don't know how the Polo Black is. I'm guessing that the Polo Black is more fruitier from the spray, and it's a little more dense in this one. It's a little more syrupy. My wife's favorite scent on me is Bullseye Tobacco and Saddle Conditioner. I need to try that. Bullseye Tobacco. I love tobacco fragrances, so I need to try that one. I used to watch Outlaw when he did dip content. He still does. I don't watch him that much. I just recently found him, so I subscribed though. I was checking him out. I have a good one I got in Brazil just called him. Yeah, so there's I'm not sure if it's the one you're talking about, but there is a fragrance that I have that what the fuck is it called? Office for him or something like that. It's really expensive though. I used to work I used to watch, I already read that. The smock is very fidgety, very, very fidgety. So let's get to story time. What the fuck story should we tell? What fucking story should I tell? I should see if they have Polo Blue and Joe Malone. Those are my two favorites right now. I don't know about either one of those, but I do need to try more Polo scents. Victor enrolled Spice Bomb OG is probably my permanent scent until they discontinued it or I die. If you like that a lot, I recommend getting Azzaro Wanted by Night. I personally love it even more, and it's similar, but it's different as well. It has a lot of similarities though. Like if you like Spice Bomb, you'll love the Azzaro Wanted by Night. I have the Spice Bomb Extreme, I think. Parfum de Hermes has an orange peel hint to it, perfect for any occasion, not offensive. Gray market, super discounts. Yeah, I think I remember it. How about one more? Mom, why don't you get out of here? You shouldn't be here for story time. No idea, but recently liked Michonne. Yeah, Michonne's really good. I got the blue and the black. My favorite's the blue, but the black is really good as well. It has a very masculine, barber shoppy kind of scent to it. A little piney, a little like I think it has like a pineapple note in it or something like that. Something like it has like a plant note, but it's very barber shoppy and masculine. The blue one has a hint, a tiny hint of sweetness in it, and like with some like watery notes. It's very summery. Like it's a great summertime first. Super fresh, super clean. It's actually Michonne Wave, I think is what it's called. A Michonne Wave actually smells almost identical to Versace Pour Home. That's a great story. We're not doing story time anymore, guys. Story time's over with. Story time is over with. That time I got caught with the candy bar. So what tobacco scent should I try first? Most people would tell you to try Dolce Gabbana the one. That's what most people would tell you to try first. A lot of other people would tell you to try the Azzaro Wanted by Night. That's another good one. My favorite at the moment is Mancera red tobacco, but that is it's a powerhouse. So get a sample because you might not like it. But Dolce Gabbana the one is a good tobacco fragrance. A lot of men like that one, like that. And can you post a link for Jazz Club? Yeah, I think so. Let's see. The that's actually, man, that's a, see, somebody right now has been watching and they know, because yes, that is one of my favorite fragrances right now. It is so good. What the hell? Yes, I got it right here. Oh my goodness, this stuff. Oh my goodness. This stuff is the shit. If you want a super masculine, there you go. You know what? Actually, this is the one I'm going to tell you to get. If you want to try a good tobacco fragrance, try this one. I'm putting it in the chat right now. And I'll also drop it in the description. Um, it's literally what it smells like is, so it's called Replica, and it's basically a somebody's interpretation of like a 1970s, 1980s jazz club. So they took their memory and put it into a bottle. And so that's what it smells like. It has a lot of tobacco in it. It's got a little bit of sweetness, some cocktail, like rum or something in it, or whiskey or something. It's a boozy. It's a boozy, smoky tobacco scent that is so fucking good. It's so good. When you first smell it, you're almost like, but then it keeps luring you in. Next thing you know, man, you fucking want to keep spraying it. Like you love it. And that's how it is for me. At first, I was like, I'm not even sure if I like this. By the second day, I was like, I think this might be my favorite fragrance ever. Jared sent me some Jazz Club. I loaned it to my dad to try, and he won't give it back. I'm telling you, man, that shit is something else. Go to bed. Go to bed. Let's hear about your construction days. I did a lot of construction myself. All right, we'll tell some construction stories on them. That's safe. But no, I started working construction when I was 10 years old. Probably even earlier than that, but that's when I really was getting like paid hourly wages, like full time work construction. I first started so I first started just odd jobs with my dad doing siding. He dropped me off on the construction site, like with my uncles and stuff, doing concrete. And but I wound up getting like a full-time job with an excavating guy who did like landscaping and excavating. And I did that for a year or so. Then I got into then I was back working with my uncle doing carpentry. And then I went from there to landscaping for 3 years, where like real landscape, where you're not just mowing lawns, you're digging ponds, doing boulder walls, all kinds of shit. We did like everything. And then back to I went to concrete after that. Actually, my dad got hurt. And I was working carpentry and with my one uncle, and I wound up going to with my other uncle and doing concrete for like 2 years, which was Breeze's dad. You guys know Breeze from in here. So I was doing concrete. Then I went back to carpentry from there. And then I did carpentry basically until, and everything else, odds and ends, until I was like, I don't know, 30. I did all different types of stuff. Well, actually, right after I got clean, when I got off probation, or while I was still on probation, I went and I was working for a custom window place, doing like custom windows on skyscrapers and shit. But no, man, fucking, I got so many stories in construction. I told you guys my dad got paralyzed. He was on a job and doing sewer and water. They're running a backhoe, an excavator, and the machine broke, and the machine went haywire and hit my dad in the back, broke his spine in 21 places, and they flight for lifed him to Freighter Hospital in Milwaukee, which it has a spinal place. He died twice on the way to the hospital, and but he wound up making it. He was fucked up for a while though. I told the story about him. Somebody took me wrong. Somebody thought when I was telling the story in my video about him shooting holes in the ceiling that I was talking about at the hospital. My dad didn't live at the hospital. My dad lived at home. He was in and out of the hospital a lot because he had injuries and he would hurt himself and he'd have to get surgeries and things like that. But he lived at home. But when he first got hurt, though, man, he had a trach in his throat, so you couldn't hear him talk. So he was lipping everything, like, and it was so hard to understand him. He couldn't write, like he lost, he had to relearn how to move his hands and things like that. It was so frustrating. But I wound up getting really good at it. So then the next time it happened, later on, he was in the hospital. Like he was trying to force me to stay there with him in the hospital the whole time because I was the only person that could understand him, and I did pretty much. Yeah, I guess I can tell that story. So my mom's trying to get me to tell a story about when I was a little kid. I jumped in my dad's truck. So I was just a little kid, and my dad had, a toolbox in the back, the toolboxes that are up by the window of the back of the truck and, in the pickup. And my grandma was babysitting me and I wanted to go with him. I did not want to stay with my grandmother. So I ran out there while he was inside for a minute. He only stopped in the house for a minute, like grab something to drink or grab a sandwich or something. And I ran out there and jumped into the back of the truck and hid under the toolbox. Well, he winds up leaving, going to work, and he takes me to this field, and I was so young. I was also smart because I was old enough to know that I was not in my dad's regular truck, that I was in his work truck. I knew he was in his work truck, and I knew he would not take it home. So I knew he would take his regular truck home, but he was in his work truck. So my plan was, and this is how young I was thinking, my plan was to sleep there overnight. Nobody would notice a thing. And then in the morning, when he comes with his other truck, I'll jump in that one. All right. And then I'll, be able to go home the next day. So that was my plan. But while he was digging a hole, like he had a shovel and was digging. I don't know what he was digging a hole for, but he was digging a hole. Anyway, so we're pulled up, we're in this field, and I'm in the back of the truck, and he's digging some hole, and I keep poking up and looking at him, like a little kid. And he eventually sees me, and I see him see me. So I hurried up and hid under the box, but I wasn't sure if he's seen me. Then all of a sudden he's fucking right there. He goes, "What are you doing, boy?" He grabbed me up. He didn't kick my ass or nothing. He just grabbed me up and then put me in the cabin. Or put me inside the truck and was like, "Now I got to take you home." He's like, "You should have just asked me." He's like, "You could have just came with me." And I remember thinking, like, "Well, why didn't you say that? Why wouldn't you just say that?" But no, it was just a funny story. But it's getting late, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We'll tell a better story next time. It's getting late, and I'm not sure. I might do a members live tomorrow. I'm not positive. If we do, we'll probably just do something fun. I'm not sure if we'll do the sharpening or not. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll just talk sharpening or something. Maybe I'll break out a couple different things. But we'll see. We'll see. Because I hate to not do the sharpening stuff, but we'll see what happens. I just know, remember, second and the third, for those of you that are here, on the second and the third, there is no lives. So we have a regular live and a members live on those days, but there won't be. I have something planned. So I will see you guys after that. But like I said, I'll try to maybe just do one tomorrow. Maybe we'll just shoot the shit in the afternoon. I love you guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Thank you guys for all the donations, and shout out to all the members, Patreons. I know most of you guys have entered. Some of you guys haven't entered the giveaway. If you're on Patreon, go and make sure that you have entered the giveaway. I hate to draw it, and then because I see people jumping in it like right at the end, like before I pull it, and I hate the thought of pulling it, and then somebody realizes it's up and then tries to enter it when it's already too late. So if you're a Patreon, the giveaway's going on right now. Make sure you enter it, so that we can pull the people and get them shipped out to you guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Work hard, stay tough. Society's relying on you. Until next time, peace.